Welcome back to Inside Positive. We're talking transgender politics today and the controversy it's causing across the nation and across Tennessee. We're talking with Hetty Weinberg, who's the executive director of the Tennessee ACLU, and Zach Pruitt, who's the director of public policy for the Tennessee Family Action Council. Now, Hetty, you have filed a complaint concerning an issue in Sumner County, and you filed it with the federal government, about the Federal Department of Education. What's going to be involved in that? Is that something that's going to be like a lawsuit, or is it going to, how is it going to be handled by the Department of Education?
Sure, and that is not a lawsuit. An ACLU filed this complaint on behalf of a family in Sumner County whose transgender daughter was being told she could not use the bathroom that conforms with her gender identity. We filed it's a complaint with OCR and the Office of Civil Rights, and they will pursue an investigation. There are no depositions, there are no expert witnesses. They will go in and talk to both sides, people within the school system, our family, and others, to get a sense of what really happened. We believe, based on the guidance, and it's not law, it's non-binding guidance from the Office of Civil Rights, well, the Department of Education, that students should be allowed to use the bathroom that corresponds with their gender identity, and if schools do not let them do that, then they risk losing their federal funds under Title IX. Is
there a lot of history behind this? Has this happened in other communities, or are we still sort of exploring something sort of unexplored territory so far?
Good question. These complaints are beginning to be filed, and in Illinois, in Palatine, which is a suburb in Illinois, ACLU worked with the family, filed an OCR complaint. It went through a hearing. It got very close to the point where there was fear on the part of the school system that their Title IX funding would be pulled, and they settled and allowed the student to use the bathroom that corresponds with their gender identity.
Mr. Pruitt, what role will the Family Action Council have in this? Obviously, you can't intervene like a friend of the court or be involved in it. Are you basically going to be an observer from the sidelines and speak about it in the media?
Well, when it comes to the Sumner County case, right, it's not a legal case. We can't join Sumner County.
But
right.
You are seeking them to get them help from both the governor and the attorney general in this matter.
Well, with regards to that, is that what we wanted to do, and the attorney general has agreed, was that we wanted to make sure that if Sumner County was sued by the federal government, that they would not be responsible to foot their own legal bills, and that the attorney general would be able to step in and defend them, so we don't have a situation where groups like the ACLU go in and sue each county separately and basically force their will, because these local counties can't defend these massive lawsuits that were brought against them.
And Ms. Weinberg, while you're asking at this point for an investigation to be done, a lawsuit is possible down the road depending on what the findings are.
Our goal is not to file a lawsuit, and we've said that all along. Our goal is to protect this student. Our goal is to not create more chaos, but allow the educational system to do just that and work with students to provide education and not to create disruption within the school. I think it's what we lose sight of is we're talking about human beings. We're talking about young people who are going through their own struggles, and who are typically, transgender students are typically those individuals who are being bullied all the time. So the goal is to protect these students, and one way we had to do that in this instance was to file this complaint with OCR.
Mr. Pruitt, you talk about the safety issue involved here. Are you aware of situations that have happened either now or in the past where safety has been involved for students because of transgenders losing the bathroom in a different bathroom than people might expect them to be in?
Right. Well, in the situation in Illinois that Ms. Weinberg mentions, there was a lawsuit that was filed in retaliation to the settlement. So the settlement allows a biological boy, who is, I guess, a transgender girl, to use the girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and also participate on their sports teams. So in response to that, 51 families, including up to 63 students from the school itself, have filed a lawsuit. In that lawsuit, there are complaints that outline very specific violations of their privacy that have occurred in this situation specifically.
So, Ms. Weinberg, you talked about you don't want to create a lot of confusion, but it seems to me as this issue continues to grow, you could indeed have a number of these complaints and investigations you're going to ask for being done in a number of counties across Tennessee, or for that matter across the country. That's bound to cause a lot of confusion and angst within school systems.
The goal is to ensure that transgender students are being treated equally. We're talking about girls in girls' bathrooms, boys in boys' bathrooms. We're also recognizing that if there is a concern about privacy, which is what FACT speaks about often, the option, which is very easy, is to say, you know what, there is a gender-neutral bathroom, and if gay, straight, transgender students don't want to use the general bathroom, then they can use the private bathroom, rather than putting the burden on the transgender students and say, you know what, you cannot use that bathroom. You have to go travel, 6 blocks on the other side of campus and use a bathroom that's designated only for transgender students. That's really unfair, it's humiliating, it's marginalizing a whole community of students.
Mr. Pruitt, I see you shaking your head no over there. So this idea of using a sexually neutral bathroom is not a good compromise in your mind for this?
That compromise has been offered numerous times.
It
So,
has not. It
for
has
instance,
not been
we have
offered.
to have, the bill in Tennessee even offered a male restroom, a female restroom, and also provided for, allowed the school to make any other accommodations they wanted. That was not good enough. What the ACLU wants in this situation is they want unfettered access to the bathroom of your choice, including not only bathrooms, we're talking about locker rooms and stuff here where people will be changing, showering, etc. They want, if you are a boy that identifies as a girl, then their argument is that you should have full access to those locker rooms and showers.
Another question about the bathroom bill in Tennessee, similar to North Carolina. The North Carolina bill probably got more controversy than anybody else all across the country. Yet the University of North Carolina is not moving forward to enforce it, and there appears to be no enforcement mechanism in that law. I've heard that same criticism of the Tennessee law. What's the purpose of passing a bill that has no enforcement provision in it?
Right. It merely just enshrines what we do now. It gives people a protection if their privacy has been violated. So, for instance, you have a situation in Seattle which had these similar laws passed, like Charlotte did, where they allowed people to go into the bathroom with which they identify. It took about 2 weeks after that bill was passed before a man went into a public swimming pool, disrobed, and of course there's a middle school girls swim team there. Naturally they screamed and freaked out. They brought in the staff, which want to know what all the commotion was about. They confronted the man, and he said, I have a right to be here. They said yes, and they had to leave, and they allowed. So in this situation, there's no specific enforcement mechanism, but what it does allow, which is what happens right now, all this does is enshrine what we've been doing for generations. If I, myself, as a male, go into the women's bathroom and cause a commotion there, I can be removed by the staff of a building.
Sure.
Okay, Ms. Robert, I'll give you a chance to respond. We need to take another break. We're talking about transgendered politics. We may have to rate this show R before we get through the rest of the day. Back to continue our conversation with Hetty Weinberg and with Zach Pruitt of the Family Public Policy Action Committee after this break.